Hi, welcome to my hobby prison. Back with Whiskey Juliet, my 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Still waiting for the motor to get from the machine shop, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to hydrograph the valve covers. Right now, I got them set up here. I need to take the screws out of them and get them cleaned up. The paint doesn't stick to oil, so I've got to wash them up real good. And then when that's ready to go, we'll paint them. So once I get them all cleaned up, I'll bring you back. Well, here we are, back at my hobby prison and back with the Whiskey Juliet project. I haven't been posting any videos lately because, well, we've been having trouble trying to upload some things to YouTube, but hopefully we've got those all figured out. We haven't stopped doing things though. Since we've been down, in the meantime, we've got us a new logo, and I've got a couple of new toys that I want to show you, and then we'll go over some of the things that we're going to accomplish today. The first thing that I got, look at here. I finally got a tripod. That is going to be really handy. And then we got this from Home Depot. It's a 60-gallon, 175 PSI, 3.7 horsepower, brand new air compressor from Home Depot. Now this compressor install has been quite a project. I might do a whole video on that because I bought it and all that I got was the air compressor. It didn't come with anything else. I had to wire in this. Actually, I had to make a power cable, and that, you know, that wasn't such a big deal, but it's 10 gauge, and to try to get it to fit into that little thing, because it comes around the back, goes up in through there, and then you screw it into there. That was a pain. But it comes with a tank pressure, but it didn't come with a pressure regulator for the tools. It just come with this big hole right here. So this had to be all put together. This had to be purchased, and I've got to redo it a little bit because it's still leaking air right here. But it works, and I'm just waiting on an air hose. Harbor Freight Tools is out of that. I got a rain check on it, so I can still get it for the sale price. But in the meantime, I don't know what I'll do about an air hose. I need to have it, because what we're going to do today is we're going to prep the valve covers for some hydrographing. I got the hydrographing tank all cleaned up with fresh, clean water in it. We're going to do that today. Probably gonna try to tackle the fuel injectors. We'll replace those. Clean them up a little bit, and replace the fuel injectors, or the fuel injector connectors. And there's this has been bugging me. It's just this weather stripping. All I'm going to do it shrinks. I guess they shrink over time, but all I'm going to do is take the seal plate out and try to take that seal plate out and try to stretch it up along here and take some of the slack out. So first things first is getting the valve cover ready to hydrograph. I already did one. They're already cleaned up, but I'm going to sand it, and just so it'll take some primer. Oh, this valve cover right here, let me move it over here. Oh, here's another thing that I got. Purchased a new light, but it had a crack right here, so I took some JB Weld, and we'll see if it works. If it doesn't, it's no big deal. We'll just replace it with a new valve cover. But this one's all ready to paint. It's sanded and ready to go. we're going to do this one today. And then for primer, we picked this up from Napa. It's self-etching primer. It should work really well. And then I've got some blue candy pearl for a base coat. And then we're going to put some hydrographic film with chains on it over the valve covers, just because it'll be fun. I'm going to mount this up to the tripod and point it towards the workbench so you guys can watch me sand. Won't that be exciting? I bet you can't wait. Get some gloves just to try to keep these valve covers are made of something else. They're not plastic and they're not steel. I don't know what they're made out of, but they sand really easy. And I'm using 400 grit sandpaper. It's going pretty good. The parts that are difficult to sand are inside. They're inside these bolt holes, but pretty much it just sands right down real nice. Oops. Looks like I need to get some more 400 grit paper. Okay, well that was tedious, but it's done. Turned out pretty good. I don't see any cracks in it. It's clean. Until I touched it, it was ready to be painted. But we're ready to move on. What I think I'm going to do though, I'm going to quick try to sand that JB Weld off of that other valve cover. Right there. I'm not going to try real hard. It's in the back and nobody's going to see it, but we'll try to smooth it out a little bit. Battery's dying, so I'm going to shut this off and bring you back after I get done sanding it to show you what it looks like. Getting ready to paint. I don't think I'll be able to show you me actually painting those valve covers, actually priming them. But if my wife's not busy, maybe she can give us a hand and help record. Anyway, I'm going to show you the projects. I'm going to show you the products I'm going to use so you'll know. This finish one stuff here, this is basically just a degreaser. I'm going to wipe those things down real good with that before I hit them with the primer. And then this is the primer I'm going to use. I got it from Napa. It's self-etching. Like I said, I'm not really sure what those valve covers are made out of. I could have looked it up, I'm sure, but you know what? This is just for fun. If it works out, that's fabulous. If it doesn't, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. We're just progressing and trying to do something fun every day. And you know, I'm not a professional. Matter of fact, I'm pretty stupid. So at least you'll be learning from me what not to do. Moving on. Before I forget, I wanted to show you that JB Weld patch. I got done wiping this off, so I'm not going to touch it. But there it is. It's okay. I didn't spend very much time on it. All I did was knock it down with some 180 grit. And that's it. We're just going to prime it and leave it. It's important that you remember when you do wipe this stuff off with the degreaser, make sure you wear some kind of a rubber glove. You do not want to get your fingerprints on that because the oil from your skin will keep the paint from sticking. And primer, it'll keep your primer from sticking too. So just make sure that you wear a glove whenever you touch something that you're going to paint. Now, we're going to shake the paint up. Well, primer, I keep calling it paint. We're going to shake the primer up and then spray it. Hey, we're lucky enough we got my wife to record us doing this, so just follow along. It's important when you're spraying paint and things that you don't get too close, 6 to 8 inches away, and just do light coats. You make several light coats. And the can says for every minute of spraying, you shake the can. So I put these on these pedestals so I can turn them around. And you see how light a coat it is, and then you just wait a minute or two and then you put another coat on. I should be wearing a respirator, but the garage door's open, so I think I'll be all right. And I'll get back with you when we're all done. It dried really fast. There wasn't any really flash time between coats. I'd spray one side of one valve cover, move to the next side, spray that, or the next valve cover, spray that side, turn the valve covers, spray the other side of the first one I started with, then spray the next one. And by that time, the first side of the valve cover was dry enough to paint it. So no runs. We're gonna wait, and then we're gonna put the color on. In the meantime, I'm gonna charge the phone. Thought I'd try a different angle. Well, that's 2 coats. I got enough paint for 1 more coat, so we'll do that, let that dry, then we'll put the candy coat on. Oh, I guess that's it. Just got that last coat. So we'll come back with the candy coat about 15 minutes. I'm holding this with the tripod. Hang on a minute. It's loose. Still not straight. Maybe this wasn't such a good tripod. Anyway, all right, we're getting ready to change, shoot the clear coat on it, the candy, and they look pretty nice. Hang on, let me turn this around. They look pretty nice. It's all, that's the color coat. What you're seeing here is part of the tripod. You move it. There. Base coat's on. It's ready. It's dry. It's ready for the candy coat. Once we get the candy coat on it, you're really gonna see the colors pop. It's gonna look wet. So stay tuned for that here in just a minute.
Get you a close-up, you can see the sparkles in it. You get you a close-up, you see the sparkles. Pretty, huh? Really nice. I'll tell you what, if you guys paint, good paint makes a big difference.
Okay, well, one coat. I got enough for one more, maybe two, but I don't know if you could hear what I said, but you know, I'm not a professional painter, but I painted a few things when I do my hydrographing, and I'll tell you what, good paint makes a huge difference. Those turn out beautiful so far, and no runs. So 2 more coats to go, at least 1, maybe 2, fingers crossed. All right, it's time for the second coat. So if I have enough paint left after this second coat, we're gonna do a 3rd coat, then we're gonna wait, make sure it's good and dry. I have to wait for the water in the hydrographing tank to heat up anyway, and then we'll hydrograph it, and then we'll spray it with the clear. And you have to spray it, you have to clear it before 24 hours, so we can do that tonight if the weather's warm enough. If not, it's late afternoon, well, mid-afternoon, like 3:30, and we can wait till the weather warms up tomorrow and then spray it with clear. So that's the plan. Watch and see. Well, it looks like there's gonna be enough paint for at least a partial coat. Now, if I was spray painting a show car and doing the outside, I wouldn't do it, but these are valve covers and I got paint and I don't want to waste it, so I'm just going to use what's left. Hopefully it'll cover both valve covers and we'll call it good. Then we'll get ready to hydro dip them. All right. I always say all right, don't I? Well, I'll try not to say that anymore. Okay guys, here we go. It's the last coat of the candy on there, and then I got to clean my gun. We'll wait for a bit and we'll hydro dip it. We'll bring you along for that. Enjoy the show. Well, I forgot to hit record on that, so you missed it. But it was the same as the other 6 coats that I put on there. 3 base coats, 3 candies, well, 2.5 base coats. I did forget to mention one thing though. Before you spray, every time you spray, you want to check the spray in your gun and make sure it's still spraying right. It's like chalking a pool cue. You just chalk it every time before you shoot. So every time before you spray, you should check the spray in your gun. You don't know what's happening. You don't know if the lever got turned or anything. So just before you spray on your piece, make sure you check that your spray gun is working right. Now I'm just gonna clean my gun and wait for a bit, and then we'll hydro dip. We're here back at the shop, back at the 1-car garage. We're gonna hydrograph these valve covers. It's been a few hours, 2 or 3. Went to a late lunch with the wife, and Dance with the daughter. She had dance practice, and we didn't do very well on Keno, but it was a fun night. Now we're going to hydrograph these valve covers. Hydrographing always makes me nervous. I've been doing it for about 12 years, and every time you dip something, you wonder if it's going to turn out right. So let me show you what we've got here. All right, that's the chain film right there. You're supposed to have a 1-inch border around it, and I just didn't order enough film. There's just not enough. But we're going to try it anyway. Try to make it work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this right down the middle here, and cut here and here, and leave enough for dipping. So you cut it, you lay it on the water, then you dip your part in it, and we're gonna show you the process. Hopefully it'll work. We're gonna do this one first, and hopefully I've got enough. We're gonna put some tape in the water and try to make a border so it doesn't leak over the sides. This stuff fell and spilled in transmission fluid. I don't even know if it's any good anymore. Let's see. We don't need both of these dams in here. So we'll take one out.
I think I might have better luck from this side.
All right. Man, it's been so long since I've done this, I don't really remember. I'm going to leave one dam in. You know what? We're going to leave both dams. Just like that. When you're getting ready to hydrograph, you need to make sure that the sticky side of the film is down. So what you do is you take your fingers, lick them, get them wet, whatever. And whatever side sticks, that's the side you want to go in the water. Now, as far as the taping goes, I don't like to tape them, but you'll find that as the film gets smaller, it likes to curl. So the less wide and long it is, the more likely that you're going to have to tape it so it doesn't curl up when you're dipping. And unfortunately, I didn't order enough film, so we have to make this work. We can't use extra, we have to use the bare minimum that we can get away with. So I made a 1-inch border around my valve cover here. And now we want the film to be able to expand and contract. So we're going to cut reliefs in the tape. And I just like, well, you can see what I'm doing. One in the middle, some on the side, another in the middle, some on the side, and the corners, of course. We want this film to act, we want it to expand. We want it to get out the wrinkles and the bubbles, and the way that it does that is expanding the film. Well, see, I need a piece of tape. This is Temu tape, don't buy it. And I don't want to cut into the film too far, so I just hit the borders of where the tape is. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to lay this on. I'm going to cut this extra tape off, but we're going to lay it on the water, wait for a minute, and then we're going to spray it with the activator and dip it. This is why we don't like tape. Look at this mess. And it's Temu tape, so it's not going to do what it's supposed to do. We're going to lay it down, we're going to bend it in the middle to try to keep the bubbles out, and then we're going to tape it off to border, and we're going to count 60 seconds, and then we're going to spray it and dip it. All right. That's it. See it expanding? That's what we want. We want it to expand. Move it down a little bit. Try to get the things out. Little border so when we activate it, it won't spread out all over hell and gone.
I'm going to come over on the other side so they can get a good shot there too.
Gotta get rid of the bubbles.
That looks pretty good.
That looks pretty good. What about, no, I don't know, 10 more seconds should be about a minute, don't you think?
Do you want me to hit the timer before or after you hit the activator?
Well, it's too late now.
Oh.
It's before you hit the activator. But you see how it's spread out? And then we want to activate it. It's been about a minute. Make sure it gets good and activated.
How long does that usually take?
About 20 seconds or something. Make sure there's no topography on it, which means you can't see any kind of bumps or anything in the film. Air bubbles don't count. And then we dip. So we want to go in at an angle about 40 degrees. Make sure that we just try not to trap any air bubbles. Okay. And there it is. Probably can't see it very well, but that's okay. We're just putting a little design on it. And then we bring it over here to the rinse tank. We're gonna let it sit in there for a couple of minutes. We need a light. We need a light, don't we, honey?
Yes.
Let's see.
I thought about that before we started. That one would probably work really well.
This one?
Yeah. Now I can see the pattern on it.
Let's see. Okay. It's a problem about doing this in the nighttime. We don't have very good lighting in the garage. And I'm trying to make it better, but so what happens now is there's a film that collects on it, and we need to rinse it off. So we're going to let that sit for a while, and then we're going to try to rinse it off.
Oh, much better.
We're going to let this rinse for about 10 minutes. Get all that, there's a film on it. And there's not a lot, you can't see a lot of graphic on it. I can see some chain right there, but it's okay because the paint is so pretty. I don't really care if there's a lot of graphic on it or not. So while we're doing that, we're going to clean out the dipping tank, and we're going to get ready to dip the other valve cover. I'm going to tape the edges down with, I'm hoping it's better tape than Timu tape. We're going to find out. Like I said, I don't like using tape, but when you have little pieces of film like this, they really do tend to curl up on the edges, and then you lose dipping area, meaning they'll curl up, so the area that you have available for your dip is less. And I don't know if this is going to be better than Temu tape. This blue Scotch tape. We're going to find out though, aren't we? And then after we get done with this, we'll wait until tomorrow and then we'll clear coat it. And then we'll be done with the valve covers. And I'm toying with the idea of doing the intake manifold. So we want to square everything up. And then we want to relief cuts. See right here? Do you see that? If we don't relief cut that, it's going to cause a problem later. So we're going to do some relief cuts in here, so we don't have a problem later. Okay, we're going to put this on the water for a minute and then dip it. We put some gloves on and we'll go from there. All right, we're getting ready to put this on the water. Another 60 seconds. Dip it and rinse it. We don't want these things right here. Okay. Oh, you know what? I need my yellow tape. There it is. Let me get that ready. That's the thing. You need to be 100% ready when you dip. You don't want to have to find something, fix something, tape something, look at something. You want to make sure everything's ready to go. Your spray gun set at the right. Look at the spray gun. Let me show you this. This is really, really important. Now I'm going to squeeze it. If you pull it just a little bit, just air comes out, okay? Watch what it does to the water. It just barely tickles it. You don't want a bunch of air coming through there because it'll mess the film up, it'll move it around. Did the hydro dipping, well, let's see. We did the sanding, the priming, the painting, the candy coat. Now we did the dipping. We're going to let these pieces dry overnight and then we'll clear coat them tomorrow and then they'll be done. They're ready to be put on the engine. Even though we don't have it, they'll be ready to go. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you can, and we'll see you next time. Good morning. It's pretty early. I wanted to come and shoot. Well, you remember last night we finished hydrographing the valve covers. Anyway, I wanted to clear them this morning before I go to work. It's not really cold outside. It's still dark. Springtime's coming. You can hear the birds. Problem is it's kind of cold. I don't know if it's too cold to shoot that. Clear needs to be a little bit warm to flow out, so there's not a lot of orange peel on it. It's warmer in the garage than it is out here. I think I'm going to try to shoot it, so we'll get started. First thing is we're going to wipe down the valve covers with degreaser. Just make sure I don't get any get all the fingerprints off it, and tack cloth it so there's no dust on it, then shoot it. Let it clear out a little bit and then shut it, and then try to, hopefully it'll flow out. So we're almost ready to shoot. Hang with me. Anyway, so I just hurried up and clear coated them, but I'm going to show you how they turned out. They turned out really nice. They got, this one didn't, well, yeah, they turned out beautiful, but there wasn't enough film, hydrographic film, so it didn't really show up, but they still look awesome. I only had one run, and it's right here. little bit.